Good morning, folks. We're here to build some Gungnirs.
Alright, so the first thing I gotta do is start programming all the stuff that you gotta program. With the multi-bits, if it's a multi-bit Gen 5, which is pretty much all we got now, for the multi-bit cards, the little DSP chip needs to have firmware on it, the USB chip needs to have firmware on it, and of course the Gungnir takes the Gen 5M. There's a Gen 5M and Gen 5. They're both the same, just the M has another chip that you gotta program in it because they use software to simulate some of the features in the Yggdrasil that Gungnir and Bifrost don't have. So, starting with these little guys, they're like a little memory chip basically, and stick it in this guy. It's directional. Close it up, and actually I have to open the software. There we are, and there's a button. Hit that, it takes like a second or two, and then I put a sticker on it. And I do it, this time I'm doing 10, so I program 10 of these little chips, sticker them right off the bat, so that I don't have to do it while I'm actually putting the Gungnir boards together. Hopefully this part goes fast, but the USB Gen 5 doesn't go so fast. So I gotta program 10 of those first. It's just the way I like to do it. And sometimes I forget whether or not I programmed it, so I hit the button again. And that's pretty much how that works. Program the DSP chip. Okay, so now I gotta program the USB Gen 5M. Now the M has a little phone jack on it, right here. That's to program the pick part. Pick part basically simulates some of the stuff. This is the way I understand it. It simulates some of the stuff that the Yggdrasil has that Gungnir and Bifrost don't. That's why we have the M version. So I have this, it's like a power board test. Let's call it a programming jig. Basically it's going to give me power to my Gen 5M, so I don't have to use a new Gungnir in order to do that. So that way I can program 10 of these at a time, because I'm doing 10 Gungnirs right now. I just plug it in here. All I need is power, so it doesn't matter that it's a Bifrost. Here's my pick programmer right here. Let's put that in there, and then we're also programming the USB chip. Plug it in, and now it's just supplying power. Everything lights up, and I can go ahead and hit the button on the pick part. That's pretty quick. And then I go ahead and program the USB. Gotta make sure I put the correct firmware on it. There we go. And the USB takes longer to program than the pick part. So I'm actually already done with that. And you just kind of wait for it to finish. It'll ding me. There we go. This is done. Then I just double check, make sure it got programmed correctly. And there we go. So that's how I program the USB. Now I'm going to do 10 of these real quick and I'll get right to the dough. Okay, now that I've finished programming almost everything, I can go ahead and assemble them. Take it out of the bag. And I'm going to go ahead and give it just kind of once over. Make sure there's no solder blobs or things on backwards, that kind of stuff. Things like this where it's bent over. Alright, looks good. First thing I gotta do is glue on the heat sinks. Now these heat sinks, some of them stay on, some of them, probably this one, are just really loose and they'll come off in shipping, so we don't want that. Also, I use the ultra gray, and it kind of acts as a thermal paste and it glues it on. So it's a 2-in-1. Just need to put a dab on there. There's 4 heat sinks total. Okay, now if this was going overseas to the UK, this would be the point where I switch it over from 115 to 230. They all come 115 obviously because we're in the US. And to do that, if you see those 2 jumpers in there, I take the 2 jumpers out and I put 1 back in, only in the middle. And that makes it a 230. Next thing I gotta do is put in the standoffs. There's 6 rows. And I kind of lightly screw them on first. I take my trusty Milwaukee, torque is set on 4, and I zap them in there. Alright, next I need a Gen 5M board. Gen 5M board. Go ahead and pop that on there. Now the Gungnir Multibit board takes a little bit of finagling. The original design of the Gungnir had 2 separate boards here before it was multi-bit, and this is now all one big board. So I've got to kind of just eyeball it. Make sure I'm getting everything in straight. First time you do this, it's kind of a pain. There we go. Put that in. Next, get one of the little DSP chips that I programmed earlier. These are directional. The notch goes that way. And there we are. Now I can plug everything in. Now the extent of my listening is just to make sure there's sound coming out of it and it doesn't exactly sound like shit. So start with digital inputs, balanced outputs, single-ended outputs, plug it in, turn it on, and nothing happens. That is because we need to program the chip on the motherboard. Now this chip basically controls what happens when you push the button, which input you're on, which light is on, and it controls the reclocking system in the Gungnir for when you plug in you know, a less than standard, substandard digital device. It will reclock it so that it makes that sound better, but it'll make the BBG light on. BBG stands for Buy Better Gear. And that's the reclocking system. There's a jack on the side here to do that. Plug in the hockey puck, and then I go ahead and zap it to firmware. And it turns on, and then I gotta wait for the delay. Now a lot of people with like the Bifrost and the Multibit, they think that this is cycling through the inputs. I get that a lot in the repairs. It's actually just a time delay, and that's all it is. It's not cycling, it's not booting. It's just a time delay that they built in there so that it doesn't turn on as soon as you power up. Now the reason they do that, I forgot, but it's something to do with warming one of these things up. I think it's these guys here. So we're getting sound out of it. And I should probably hit play on my USB source so that I get sound out of that too. I don't want to trick myself into thinking it's broken. Okay. And that's pretty much it. I just need to make sure there's sound coming out of all 4 inputs. and that it's not unbalanced or anything. And then also check the balanced outputs, sorry. I got a Mjolnir 2 up here, so there's a balanced single-ended switch that comes in really handy. Okay, that thing's working. Go ahead and unplug everything. Too bad I can't have the music that I really like on YouTube. Otherwise, I'd be playing you guys some cool shit. Okay, zap on the daughter boards, as I like to call them. And that's that. This thing's done. Stick it back in the bag, and it goes to you-know-who, Mr. Miles, to be put in a box. That's what you're going to see next.
So, we have to go to our list and gather up those parts, which we already did. So, there's our tops, there's our backs, and our bottoms. So there we go with all that. Now we're going to get ready to build. So, Tony asked me to make some of these, so here we go. Our bottom, stick it just like this. Make it all happy. One of those things line up all your holes, which you already know that. And assemble. Simple as that. So we put all these happy screws in. And this is going to help ground everything, protect everything, make everything look a lot nicer, and so you don't get zapped. You would not want to get zapped. Not a fun day. So, anyway, we got that going. Then, we got our little feet. We got to tie the shoes together. So, pretty much same process. Same screw. Just thread it through. Line it up with this little hole. And then, voila. We did these 3 times. Reason for 3 on this unit, from what Jason says, is no matter how unlevel the surface is, it will sit flat. It won't teeter-totter. So it's like, okay. So that is our reasoning for that. So, there we go. We're all good. So now we put it over here. Make sure all the little lights are over here. Now you get this guy right here. There he is. That is our Gungnir top. We got one of these little guys. Just a simple little aluminum little button. Let's take that little bugger, stick it over here, like this, voila, put it all together like that. See, there we go. Put it over here, just like so. That's pretty much it for that. We're adding 5 screws to this thing. So, 5 screws here, and there it is. So now, it's basically together. But the problem is right here, those are not sticking through, which are the lights. Now, this is the fun part. This is where we gotta have a little patience and quietness and all that stuff. And hopefully Tony doesn't sneak up on me and shoot me with a rubber band when I'm not looking. So, and yeah, I hate breaking them because then I gotta fix them, and I hate doing rework. So let's see here. We're gonna put you over this way. You're not really gonna see what I'm doing, but you'll see these things moving around. So basically, I'm just gonna take these little guys and magically put them in, just like that. Voila! And there it is. There's one. Didn't break it. I'm pretty good at this, so I wouldn't worry, people. You could if you want. So we're over here putting in lights, which is a whole set of them. And it just takes it about a minute or so. Get these little buggers in, because they gotta go in, they gotta stick through, and they have to, you know, not break. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And these, you can get these at the swap meet. And of course, these are what the doctor uses to clamp you up or whatever. So anyways, there we go. That is why we did that. So now, normally I do a whole bunch of these together. Right now we've got all these guys over here. But Tony wanted me to do one for you guys. So that's what we're doing. So now, we're going to take our lucky mat, stick that right there. Then, stick this bugger like this. Sit like that. And then we have our back. That's all your information of what you need. Just stick that just like that. All the way in here. And there it is. Make sure everything is happy, which we do. And we gotta get a couple more little things, a couple more doohickeys to make this all happy. I got some more screws to make this complete. And we need, let's go steal a screw. I gotta go steal a screw from somebody, but that's all right. We don't know nothing, right? So, walking over here, and we got one. It's just for this build. Don't tell nobody. All right, so now back over here. I like to put this guy on here first. It's just my little thing that I do. Get it all threaded up. Make sure this little guy pops out through. Scratch off. There we go. Voila, happiness. Now comes the fun part. Putting all these in. And that's that. So, got a whole bunch of these little guys here. And it's already set to the torque that you need. Or that I do, not you. This is for me to do. Don't take it apart. So, putting in the happiness of the screws again. And this is going to be boring because you're sitting around. When's he going to finish? I'm thinking the same thing. that. Got this. One more for this, and then we're going on the bottom. Now, right down. That's all the way down. Sometimes these don't line up like they should. We got the long ones. Those are for the Mjolnirs. These. It's funny how you can just touch the darn thing and know it's the wrong screw. Put so many of these things together, it's not even funny. I've lost track count. But there's a lot of them out there. There we go. Making everybody happy. And tight. So you people don't get zapped. And there we go with that. And voila. 3 more. And 2 more. 1 more. And that is it. We are done putting this guy together. Here he is. It's all together. Sides, bottom, all that stuff. So now, I'm going to go over, which this is the burn rack. So this is where we take them to burn them in. And this one, we're going to check out and see how it's happy. So, plug it in, just like so, and there it is. Look at that. And the lights are coming on. And you can see that one blinking, which means it's a multi-bit, which means somebody will have this guy later on. So when this guy is done blinking, when he does, then we check out everybody else. Oh, he's a long blinker. Look at him. We'll go ahead. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is. There is your Gungnir.
So I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on the listening part and what we're actually doing, what we're listening for. I'm going to start by plugging this thing in because it can take a minute to turn on. So after they're built and put in a box, the chassis and everything like that, we burn them for 24 hours. Now, when I first test the board, all I need to test for is to make sure that audio is coming out of it and it's not, distorted or anything wacky. It's just making sure that the board works. So then Miles will put it in the metal box and then they'll burn for 24 hours. Now the burning process, hopefully anything that's going to go wrong is going to go wrong within the first 24 hours of being, powered on. And that's when you'll start getting little fuzzy stuff sometimes, like the anomalies in the audio. So what we're doing here is we're checking for anomalies in the audio, distortions. We're checking to make sure every single input works, making sure that the button works, making sure that the buy better gear light is not on, all the inputs and all the outputs. Also sample rates. So as soon as this turns on, okay, it's on. So what I want to listen for first is there audio? Yep, there's audio. I got both channels. And the button is working. It's switching inputs. Another thing I want to check is I have the Mjolnir up here. Check the balanced and single-ended outputs. No distortions, no imbalances or anything. And then, because the USB input has a lot going on, what I like to do is I'll listen intently to USB. Just to make sure that there isn't any kind of weird digital distortions or any kind of, like I said, anomalies is the best thing that I can come up with, or the best way to say that. and I'll listen intently, and then during then is when I'll also go through sample rates. You go through sample rates from 44 to 192, and also you want to check the 16, 24, and 32-bit if it has the capability, which in this case it does not. The Gen 5s do not have 32. So, and this one has already been tested. It's just here to show you guys. And it sounds great. We're in good shape. The next thing that happens to this guy is it's turned off, obviously, unplugged. And now we want to do the cleaning and bagging part. Now you don't want to have a fingerprinted unit sent to you, so what we do is we get a little bit of Windex, and we get a very clean white cloth. This is like a t-shirt material, and we get it by the box load, and I'll squirt some on the cloth here. Should be good. And just kind of wipe it down. It's been touched a lot since it was built, between shipping the metal and miles touching stuff. Just want to get fingerprints and obvious dirt. Now that we got it all cleaned up, we want to put it in the bag. So the way I like to do this, and we all do it different, is I like to leave it standing up and slip the bag over. This way I don't have to touch it while I'm putting it in the bag. I can grab it on, get a good grip on it while I'm putting it in there. All the air out. Get a piece of tape. And then to top it all off, the end of the process, you got your shit sticker. Shit sticker is kind of like our factory sealed sticker. Because usually when you're opening this up, you're going to rip the sticker. There we go. That's all done. Now it goes on the shelf, usually for a little while until someone buys one. That's what you'll see next, and then we box it up and ship it off to you.
So we start with the box. Tape the bottom. And the sides. Power cord, depending US, UK, Euro, or Australia. Put it inside. Put it down. And if they ask for any other accessories like RCA, USB, or XLR, Grab our Gungnir. Put it in there like so. If you notice, everything we packed is really snug, so it doesn't get ruined if it gets mishandled. And grab the pamphlet. Put it in.
Cool. And then the label, if you have a label.
Yeah, if you have label, you put it on.
Excellent. That's that.
Not too bad.
Gungnir Multibit, huh?
Yeah.
Programming?
Yeah.
Promise I won't show your face.